alongside the work that the fantastic work that SETF and your colleagues and yourself have been doing, but also it would be wonderful to hear about what's happening in Sweida at the moment, because, like I said, this is an inspiring and quite a remarkable thing that's happened in the last few weeks.
Beautiful, yeah, it's so nice to see what's happening in Sweida right now. And unfortunately, the regime has played on this narrative that it's protecting minorities, and because it's a minority itself, it's going to have minorities' interests at heart. And right now, in 2023, 12 years since the beginning of the revolution, they've been, I think, for over a month and a bit, protesting every single day, and they're saying the same chants that people went out with in 2011. They're there and they're being very loud and prominent. And it's beautiful to see once again all these people together. And when it first started, there was protests all around the country, and this just proves again and again, even after all those years, and how the international community has failed us over and over again. They've kind of put us on the burner. No one is really talking about Syria anymore. No one has that up on their agenda, but it proves that the people, even inside of regime-held Syria, that are in Sweida, that are in the coast, and that are in Daraa, all of those people, all of them, do not want to live under this dictatorship, do not want to live under this economic condition that you are making $10 a month, you are making $15 a month. That simply cannot even get you groceries. The living conditions in the regime-held areas are beyond what anyone can describe. And then when we go to Idlib, it's crazy because we see all these people that are trying, with the normalization that's taking place, we see all these people that are trying to paint Damascus as a beautiful, wonderful kind of party scene, and people coming out and Damascus is back to safety and you guys should come visit. But it's not that, and the war is still happening, and people are still, getting bombed every single day. SETF, we have an app called Syria Watch that you can download off the App Store, and you get updates of every single attack that takes place. And this past week has been busy for that team. Every couple hours. There was a thing that happened in Kemal, and now they're blaming it on the Northwest and all on these groups. So they're basically, in Arabic we say on these people of Idlib, and they're bombing them, and over 40 people, over 50 people have passed away. And no one is talking about it, unfortunately. So we need to be that voice, and we need to bring more and more, even if it's on the back burner, even if no one is discussing this anymore. We need to be the ones to do this and to be able to bring their voice to the rest of the world. So I hope that all of us can, see what's happening in Sweida and support it, and see what's happening in Idlib and bring awareness to it, and be there for all of those people.
Absolutely. And also, I think it's no accident that Mohammad is outnumbered by women on the stage. But what's remarkable about what's happening in Sweida is actually women are very much on the forefront of these protests and the organisation. And I think for us it's really important because it doesn't tie into the narrative that I often have with people external to Syria who think women are silenced, whereas actually I would say women are among the most strong of advocates. We just need to look at Celine in particular to know that. We have spoken about the Northwest. It's always important to remember we're not trying to fragment the country, but we need to be realistic when we talk about health systems and the political determinants across the country. The situation in the northeast of Syria is desperate. In areas under government control, it is also desperate. I met doctors from Slimania about a week ago, and they get in the region of $30 to $40 a month, and they don't make it week to week to be able to feed their families. And many of us still have families in these areas because they're areas that were retaken by the government. And I think for us as Syrians, it's important to remember our shared humanity and not to be divided, but of course never to forget the injustices that have occurred. I'm going to wind down with our panellists and then open out to questions. But as we're winding down, Mohammad, I asked you at the beginning of a simple question. How did we get here? I'm going to ask you an equally simple question. Where do we go next?
I would say I'm optimist in nature, actually, and I always felt optimist when I talk about like Syria. And I guess my friend Mazen is here in the audience, so he always says to me, Mazen is the CEO of the Syrian Bridge Consortium, and he always says to me, whenever I see you, I get like a bit of inspiration and optimism as well when I look at your face. So it's not like artificial optimism really, I mean, but this is based on facts, which is like the Syrian people, as we saw in Sweida, as we see in Idlib, despite all calamities, despite all like casualties and all what happens there over years and years. After 12 years, we still see a strong, solid foundation for that hope and for that optimism. So it's not a fake one. When people dare to be out of the streets, thinking about future and thinking about a better Syria, we never know that we would be like in diaspora and for a long time, and we're going to lose like beloved people and family members and all that stuff. But we still have the hope that we're going to rebuild it again. All my hope when I was resident at Aleppo University Hospital, and I was doing my specialty in diabetes endocrinology before I came here to do PhD. So all my hope, I was looking always at a place in the campus of Aleppo University, which is very much close to Aleppo University Hospital. And my dream at that time, that there were like 3-4 rooms, like very much detached to the hospital, and they're being occupied by the intelligence forces over years. So they've been part of the hospital, taken by them. And all my dream at that time that I will go back again at some point and establish what I call it like Aleppo University Diabetes and Endocrinology Research. So that was my dream at that time. And I don't know why I pinpointed on that place, but I always thought, I mean, why they took it from the campus. And there is no need for their existence in that place among their civilians. And it makes sense for that place to become that unit. And they always say, one day, I hope, even if I retire from medicine and academia, I'll go back again to see that place as a nice academic place for research and for training people in diabetes endocrinology. I had an emotional chat last week with my cousin, and I had to hide the fact for him. When I came to the UK first time, I was reading a lot about like what you call it Adam Sujun, which is like the presence literature. So I started reading everything forbidden inside Syria, and it was very much like spending time on that one. I was in a city where no Syrian diaspora at all. I started my journey in Bristol, and I came across a document naming people who've been killed in Tadmor massacre, and they buried alive. And that was the first story about like when they said about big bulldozers in the desert, buried them, and that was the story. This is all what we're being told. And I don't know why in that late night I spent like time and time just looking at names of bad lists. It was on a Word document done by the Syrian Human Rights Committee. I reached, after like 1,500 names, the name of the husband of my auntie. I saw his name, and we always being told that he disappeared and he was taken, but nobody known his fate. And every time we ask about his fate, they say, don't ask about it, next time, don't think about this name again. Right, can we get death certificate for him? Because there's an inheritance story here. No, we can't give you a death certificate for him. Right. Is he alive then? Nobody would answer that question. I know that fact. In one of my visits to Syria before revolution, before I was banned then and I was on the list, and I can't go back again until that regime falls away, I said that to my mom and dad. Should I share that with my auntie who passed away in Turkey? Should I share that with her? They said to me, if you say anything, it will be like a big trauma in the family. Just keep it quiet and leave them with the hope. I had a chat with my cousin last week, and it was very emotional, and they said to me, I said to him, look, that's the story, and this is your dad, and that's all the details. After all that period of time. And he said to me 3 months ago, I was just like in the middle of my sleep, I woke up with a nightmare that my dad saying to me, why you don't come to my grave in Tadmor and make Fatiha for me? I passed away there. Why you don't come and visit my grave? He said to me, I called my brother, and my brother said to me, no, this is ridiculous. He's not there. They told us he's in Saint Maya or somewhere else, and that was the fact. I said, oh no, this is what being documented like ages ago and that stuff. So I wanted just to go back to that trauma, that flashback, because in my conversation with him, he was a bit pessimist, and I said to him, look, the blood of your dad won't be wasted, and the blood of millions of people won't be wasted, and all those being detainees won't be wasted, and all the struggle and the suffering of children, those being out of school, and those who are being forced to be displaced in other countries, all that calamity and struggle won't be wasted. There will be one day we will come for justice, and one day there will be accountability, and one day we will build a better future for Syrian people. Even if we are diaspora now, this is our beloved country, and we will never leave Syria alone. We will be always detached to our beloved country, and we will continue. And this lovely audience tonight is a big mark to me, and a big push, and a big inspiration that the march is going to continue for a better future for Syria.